together and trying to open the box one by one. The wise men help him. They open one piece by piece by piece to see what could be inside the box. When they opened the box, they found a heap of old clothes there. A rag, some piece of rags. And then the beggar said, you see, I told you, there's an abandoned box, nothing inside, nothing worth inside, nothing worth looking. This is not the important thing. It's only a all set of clothes. The wise man told him, why not? We open that too and see what could be inside this old clothes. Okay, then they unwrap those clothes one by one. Take one piece by one piece by one. When they remove those old pieces of clothes, inside those clothes they found a jewelry box. A jewelry box. Someone's inheritance. Maybe due to some reason or some emergency they have covered with old clothes and put in an old box and just abandoned there for some reason. They found a very valuable jewelry box. They opened the box. Inside they got very valuable jewelries inside the box. And wise man was saying, you see, I told you to check. And this poor man was sitting on this box for 8 years, sitting on a treasure and asking money from the outside people, showing his hand, asking for coins, sitting on important treasure. So therefore it was abandoned for 8 years. They couldn't find any person who can claim this jewelry box. And this poor beggar was able to use that jewelry box and to live a decent life for the rest of his lifetime because of that hidden treasure that he was sitting on for 8 years without knowing. Because of that wise person, he was able to look into the old box that he was sitting on for 8 years, asking money from the outside. We are also like that beggar, asking happiness from outside, asking happiness from external things, from other people, having a hidden treasure in us, which is our mind. We are also asking happiness from other things, from other conditions. But the deep sense of happiness is not arise due to external things, outside things, but due to our inner mind. That is why I told you we are seeking happiness in the wrong place. Other conditions may help you. Other conditions may contribute to the quality of your life. But ultimately, the real happiness to be found in the deep of our mind. The calm, composed nature of our mind will give you the true sense of happiness. That is why, although we are seeking happiness, but not reaching happiness. Just like we believe that we can be happy after having a degree. We believe that we can be happy after we own our own house. We think that we can be happy after we get our own car, after we start our own family. Just like it is out there like a rainbow, just nicely appear in front of us. But when we reach there, it's no more there. This is how we experience in our life. Therefore, we need to be wise enough to find the inner sources of happiness in order to be really happy. So Buddhism teaches us to find that inner sources of our happiness, to be really happy. People have misconceptions about Buddhism, thinking that Buddhism is always emphasized on suffering. Because if I ask, what is the basic teaching of the Buddha? You may answer me that is the Four Noble Truths. It's one of the important doctrines of the Buddha. What is Four Noble Truths? What is the first Noble Truth? What is the first Noble Truth? Suffering. And what is the second one? Cause and arising of suffering. And third one is cessation of suffering. The last one is path leading to cessation of suffering. So you hear suffering for 4 times. And people think that is all about suffering. So how come Buddhism can be about happiness? But this is a misconception, wrong way to understand. The very reason that Buddha talk about suffering is not to promote suffering. Why we should understand the nature of suffering? Why we should understand what causes us to suffer? Why? Is to get rid of suffering. The very reason that Buddhism talks in detail about suffering is not to promote suffering, is to help people to get rid of this suffering and to be happy. If you say that the Buddhism talks a lot about suffering and it promotes suffering, then all the doctors who are doing a lot of researches about diseases should be people who promote diseases. The doctors are doing a lot of research about diseases, and they talk a lot about diseases, and they write a lot about diseases. Are they promoting diseases? No. The very reason that they do engage in researching and talking and writing about diseases is to help people to get rid of the disease. So in the same way, the very reason that Buddha talk about suffering in detail is to help people to understand why this suffering arises in our mind, to understand what real causes and conditions give rises to our suffering, and help people to get rid of that. Maybe we have to present the teaching of the Buddha, especially the Four Noble Truths, in a different way to correct this misconception. The Buddha talk about suffering, or the proper translation would be dissatisfaction or unsatisfactoriness. Maybe we could rephrase the First Noble Truth as absence of happiness. That is what he is interested in. Because we all are seeking happiness, but rarely people find happiness. Many people are not finding happiness. Therefore, the common fact in our life is, instead of our efforts to seek happiness, the common fact, common reality is the absence of happiness in our mind. That is the First Noble Truth, the common fact, the absence of happiness. Okay. Then what could be the second Noble Truth? The causes and conditions that give rise to this absence of happiness. Why the absence of happiness is there? The arising of this absence of suffering. Then the third Noble Truth would be happiness, arising of happiness. And then the last Noble Truth would be path leading to happiness. So this is the teaching of the Buddha. First he described the absence of happiness, and then he explained why, the reasons and conditions and causes for the absence of happiness, and then he shows there's a possibility for us to be happy, and there's a path leading to happiness. So what is the path to happiness then? The Noble Eightfold Path. That is the path to happiness, teaching us how to be really happy in our life based on the inner sources of our happiness, which can't be disturbed by external conditions. That is the happiness that you should treasure and develop and flourish, the inner happiness. We have to find the inner sources of happiness. So today I'm going to talk about different levels of happiness that we can experience in our life. I'll be covering the normal levels of happiness, the ordinary levels of happiness that we can experience in our life, and then move into the deeper, the mature levels of happiness that Buddhism is more interested in. And if we don't know the inner sources of our happiness, it is very difficult for us to be happy. Even the external conditions are good. I remember one story about a monk who went to give counseling to prisoners. And there was a monk who used to give counseling to prisoners, and after conducting counseling sessions, and these prisoners became friendly with the monk, and after a while they started some friendly discussion. They want to know how monk lives, and they want to know the routines of a monk, what could be a monk's life. So one day they started a session of asking questions from the monk, not really listening from the monk, but asking questions from the monk about his private